This may seem like a no-brainer to some of you, but when I first started shooting real estate videos with my drone, I didn't offer stills as part of my package. I am first and foremost a video guy, but I now do offer stills, and this is how I set up and use my drone for shooting stills. Hi, I'm Grant, and the reason I didn't offer to do drone stills as part of my video package was for two main reasons. The first reason was that my first drone was using a small GoPro camera, and it was actually a DJI Phantom 2. And essentially the stills, or shooting stills with this, were not great. Number one, it sort of has a fisheye lens, and number two, the quality wasn't that great, so I wasn't comfortable offering that as part of my package. The second reason, which wasn't such a big deal, is that I often get asked when I'm doing real estate video, can I shoot the interior still pictures as well? And I don't. I'm a video guy first and foremost, and I leave the stills or the interior real estate stills to those people that specialize in that type of thing. So those are the two main reasons I didn't offer stills. However, I do now offer to shoot drone stills as part of my real estate video offerings, and that is mainly because the cameras on the drones have got a lot better, and also it actually has helped my business. For example, there's one realty or a local realty company that I've done a lot of work for here, and they use me more for shooting drone stills than actually for use or for shooting drone video. I always try and push them to do more drone video, but they are really just keen on drone stills pictures, so it's definitely helped my business offering it as part of the package. I also work in conjunction locally here with a few specialist real estate interior shooters or still shooters, and they don't mind me offering drone stills because they don't have a drone and that's not part of their deal. So I'm not competition to them, and they often recommend me for doing drone stills for certain jobs. So here's how I set up my DJI Inspire to shoot drone stills, and this will apply to most DJI drones such as the DJI Phantom 3 and 4, and of course the Inspire. Okay, I'm back inside now because it's going to be a little bit easier to shoot and show you how I set up my drone for shooting stills. I have got the standard X3 camera here on my Inspire. I also own the X5, but the X3 is perhaps more common, and it's the same camera essentially as the Phantom 4s and 3s are running. Okay, the first thing I do is I will put a circular polarizer on the camera. This is basically, especially on bright or sunny days, it helps just give you a little bit more richness to your greens and blues, and also obviously acts as a lens protector. Another thing to note there is often, if I'm shooting video, I'm often running an ND8 because I'm trying to get my shutter speed down to normal levels for shooting video, whereas when I'm shooting stills, I actually want or don't mind a high shutter speed because it helps reduce wobble or shake, and it is not such a big issue to be running a high shutter speed. So just having a normal circular polarizer filter on is my preference for shooting stills. Okay, I am now on my drone controller, and I'm going to go into the DJI Go app. Just bear with me, this is a little bit trickier to shoot because of obviously the reflections off my iPad. I go into the menu, I go across to the camera icon, I go into photo, and what I do is I select AEB, which essentially stands for auto bracketing, which means that when you shoot something, you can choose between 3 and 5 shots. I pick the 3, and what it does, it shoots one shot at what it thinks is one shot at the exposure that you've set, one shot about a stop or half a stop under, and one stop perhaps over or half a stop over. And this gives you a few options when you come to edit your shots. Image size, I leave as normal camera 4:3. So image format, I go into here and I choose JPEG plus RAW. So this will give you a straight out JPEG file, but it'll also give you a RAW DNG file, which is nicer for editing and post-production. And white balance, I am often running a custom white balance. You can choose whichever one you prefer, but I often will default to custom 5600K, which is a standard outside white balance. And style. Now style and color don't really mean anything. They are defaulting to what I've had my video settings at, but because we're shooting a RAW file, these will be over, or they don't mean anything because the RAW will give you all the information that you need to edit. Actually, the only other setting that I'll mention here, which I use, and again is personal preference, but I find this helps me with the exposure because I am generally manually setting my exposure. Go into the spanner menu and I go into the overexposure warning, and you turn that on, and what that does will give you a thing called zebras, which tells you when your exposure is at 100%. So bear with me and I'll start the drone up so you'll hear the noise. So if I turn this toggle overexposure switch off and on, you'll see here the zebra or these horizontal lines, and what that's telling you is that your video levels or your exposure is at 100% and you can't go any higher. So for example, if I go into here and I increase my shutter speed, you'll see the zebras or the lines starting to disappear. So that is probably now, I don't mind a little bit of zebra on the clouds, so that's correctly exposed about there for the clouds. And that's it. My main tips for shooting drone stills: remember that the drone enables you to get the high wide shot. Unless you own a helicopter, that is the only way you can do it. And I sometimes forget this, that people are employing you because it's a unique perspective and it can fly up in the air and get a big all-encompassing wide. So don't forget your high wide shots. I will then generally pin the 4 corners of the property, and by that I mean I go to the 4 corners of the property to shoot drone stills. And then once I've got that, which is essentially the bread and butter, then I might go for the arty shots like the close shots or foreground shots, or perhaps a direct overhead looking down shot. And those are my main sort of technique tips for shooting drone stills. And that's it. I can definitely recommend offering drone stills as part of your video shooting repertoire. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.